Mr. Sterling, what prompted you to make these remarks?
Mr. Schiff, we had a previously scheduled press conference that day, as we were in the habit of doing, trying to be as transparent as we could about the election and the counts going on. A little after lunch that day, lunchtime, I received a call from the project manager from Dominion Voting Systems, who was oddly, audibly shaken. She's not the kind of person I would assume would be that way. She has a master's from MIT, a graduate of the Naval Academy, and is very much on the ball and pretty unflappable. And she informed me about a young contractor they had who had been receiving threats from a video had been posted by some QAnon supporters. And at that point, we had been steeping in this kind of stuff. So it was around us all the time, so I didn't take note of it more than adding to the pile of other stuff we were having to deal with. And I did pull up Twitter, and I scrolled through it, and I saw the young man's name. It was a particular tweet that, for lack of a better word, was a straw that broke the camel's back. Had the young man's name. It was a very unique name. I believe he was a first-generation American. And it said, had his name, "You committed treason. May God have mercy on your soul," with a slowly twisting gif of a noose. And for lack of a better word, I lost it.
I lost it. Those are the words of Georgia election official Gabriel Sterling, who testified this week before the House January 6th committee about Donald Trump's illegal efforts to rig election results in Georgia. Sterling and his boss, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, came to Washington with a message for Americans. Donald Trump is an imminent threat to democracy. Sterling first made headlines after holding a press conference where he pointedly accused Donald Trump of stoking violence against Georgia election workers. That act of principle put Sterling on Trump's enemies list. Alongside Brad Raffensperger, Sterling was deemed a traitor to MAGA for refusing Donald Trump's request to find 10,000 imaginary GOP votes. Now Sterling is telling his side of the story. What happened in Georgia is crucial, because unlike so many other moments of Trump's excess, his effort to strong-arm Georgia election officials is actually a prosecutable crime. And Trump's conspiracy theories about the election being stolen all find their roots in Georgia, where Rudy Giuliani helped the big lie first gain traction among Trump's diehard loyalists. Sterling is one of the few Republican officials to push back against Donald Trump, and that makes him a curious figure on the right. And let's be clear, Sterling is no hero. Like his boss Raffensperger, Sterling still supports the voter suppression legislation passed by Georgia Republicans, and he had no problem cheering on some of the harshest voter restriction laws in the country. In fact, Sterling seems more upset about the way Trump asked him to rig an election than he is about the request itself. That says a lot. Still, Gabriel Sterling is a rare commodity in today's Republican Party. Someone willing to call out Donald Trump's authoritarianism for exactly what it is. In a GOP that's grown used to acting as serfs for the Lord of Mar-a-Lago, Sterling's act of self-respect can only be processed as an act of disloyalty. And some, like Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, actually think Sterling was wrong to refuse Trump's demands. What a mess. While Sterling and Raffensperger may have been the headline witnesses on Tuesday, few moments of testimony have proven as emotionally powerful as that of Georgia election worker Shay Moss. Moss, who, unlike Sterling, isn't a public official or a politician, told the committee how Trump's conspiracies upended her life, exposed her family to death threats, and led to a wave of toxic harassment. Eventually, the harassment Moss faced grew so constant that she stopped going to the grocery store. When she stopped leaving the house at all, Trump's thugs brought their hate to Moss's grandmother's front door. After more than a decade working as poll workers in Fulton County, Moss and her mother were forced to quit their jobs, in part out of fear that someone might shoot them. In a conversation that has largely treated Trump's incitement of insurrection as a legal technicality, it's too easy to forget the real lives destroyed by Trump's authoritarianism. In a story that is focused on the theatrical performances of Brad Raffensperger and Gabriel Sterling, we risk forgetting the uncelebrated bravery of regular heroes like Shay Moss. Thanks to the January 6th committee, Moss's testimony will now stand as a permanent record of Trump's authoritarian brutality.